sports. And in sports, goalkeeper Juma Kasede says injury denied him a chance to be summoned for the African Nations Championship team. Good evening, this is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Yvonne Msemembo. First, the national news. The government has confirmed that there are 13 coronavirus cases in the country after taking 273 samples and that 1,890,523 travellers have been screened at 27 centres located along border areas and airports. The statement was made in Dodoma by the Minister of Health, Community Development, Gender, the Elderly and Children, Umi Mwalimu, when giving updates on the coronavirus outbreak in the country.
Tuna watu wawili. Tuna kesi yetu ya kwanza ya Isabella.
Our first case, Isabella, and one foreign national. In Dar es Salaam we have 8 people. In Zanzibar 2 people. 1 in Kagera. The message we would like to convey to the general public is, so far we don't have local transmissions. We know those who entered the country already infected. I have not mentioned names. Isabella, her name was mentioned by certain individuals, but she also identified herself. So is Mwana F.A. Salam, Diamond's manager, also self-identified. So we don't have a system whereby we identify those infected by name.
Kwa hiyo kama kuna mtoto wa huyu, na ndio maana na wenyewe walijitaja, lakini mimi na naibu wangu na katibu mkuu hamtatusikia hata siku moja tukitaja jina la mgonjwa.
President Dr. John Magufuli has received the Controller and Auditor General's report for 2018-2019, a report from the Prevention for Combating of Corruption Bureau, PCCB, for 2018-2019, and appointed Brigadier General John Mbungo as the Director General of the institution with effect from today. Speaking at the occasion at State House in Chamwino, President Magufuli commended CAG Charles Kichere for good auditing work and PCCB in fighting corruption.
Lakini niombe tena, katika utaratibu huo kuna maeneo mengi ambayo yalikuwa yanatajwa humu.
There are a lot of areas which were also mentioned. They have been mentioned in TAMISEMI in various ministries and projects with no documentation. We must begin to address these areas within the government. A report to the House of Parliament, but for every minister, regional commissioner, secretary general. So when a motion is raised in the House of Parliament, we go and work on it. For those we have answers for, we must provide them there and then, because this is the last Parliament. So when the next Parliament begins, then there will be no pending issues.
Katika kipindi hiki, kesi 341 ziliamuliwa mahakamani.
During this period, a ruling over 341 cases were decided in court, of which 206 suspects were found guilty and some were imprisoned and others paid a fine, whereby 135 cases, suspects were found not guilty. The rate at which cases were won rose to 62.41% compared to 60.1% of 2017-2018. A total of 82.8 billion was saved in various operations run or managed by the institution. Assets saved and reinstated back to the government worth 59.1 billion includes 1-story building and petrol filling station worth 10.1 billion after it was proven that the assets were acquired illegally. And assets worth 49 billion were returned back to the government from factories and corporations that were privatized.
Kwa mfumo wa fedha taslimu zimehifadhiwa kwenye akaunti mbalimbali ambapo kiasi cha shilingi milioni 661 ziliingizwa kwenye akaunti ya mkurugenzi mkuu wa TAKUKURU iliyopo Benki Kuu.
The Association of Transporters in Dar es Salaam has said that they are ready to start implementing level seat procedures in commuter buses in order to reduce congestion and prevent the spread of the coronavirus once fares are increased. This comes after commuter bus drivers complained that bus owners demand big daily collections, and that is why the buses are crowded despite the coronavirus outbreak.
Diesel imeongezeka, TRI kodi yao wanataka, vipuli vinatakiwa, mpira sasa hivi ulikuwa unauzwa shilingi 180,000, sasa hivi 230,000. Unaendeshaje gari? Utaka gari moja na mkeka, viti 7, vinane. Na ni makosa ya madereva, lakini hawalipi, mwisho wa siku unalipa mwenyewe. Sasa tutakuwa na kodi ngapi?
The High Court in Zanzibar has suspended hearing of claims and criminal cases being preventative measures taken against the spread of the coronavirus.
Wananchi wafahamu na waelewe usikilizwaji wa kesi zote.
The hearing of all cases will be suspended for 30 days. From today, cases under submission will be presented in writing. During this time, court personnel will continue to come to work. However, open court sessions will be suspended.
Kwa hati ya dharura na mawakili kuweza kuendelea kuingia katika kesi hizo, basi wenye kesi hizo watawasilisha kwa maandishi.
A special councillors meeting in Iringa Municipal failed to take place after members from the opposition Chadema party did not appear. The meeting was called to discuss allegations against the mayor of Iringa, Alex Kimbe, and had to hold a vote of no confidence against him.
Akidi katika mkutano maalum ya halmashauri itakuwa ni 2/3 ya wajumbe wote wa halmashauri.
We ask that those present are counted because 2/3 of 26 is 17 delegates. The count should take place at the beginning of the meeting.
Kwamba ni lazima tuwe na akidi ya 2/3 ya wajumbe wote.
We must have 2/3 of all delegates, and present are only 15. So there is a deficit of 2 delegates. I'm therefore asking for this meeting to be dissolved until further notice.
Taratibu baada ya siku 7 kutoa taarifa kwa waziri ili atoe mwongozo.
Ongoing rains in Mara region have caused destruction on Mgano temporary bridge in Musoma district, inconveniencing travelers who became stranded as buses were unable to cross the bridge. The district commissioner of Musoma, Vincent Nano, has directed Tanzania Roads Agency TANROADS to repair the bridge within 3 days.
Something needs to be done about this bridge, as we cannot cross over. The only way is if we walk on foot and board another vehicle on the other side, which is rather expensive. I'm coming from Mwanza, but when I got here I found that the bridge was impassable. So we are stuck. We are asking for assistance. This regional road has been repaired throughout the seasons. Recently, 5 kilometers were tarmacked. In addition, regular repair work is going on. There was a section that was damaged, but before we could begin, we had to construct a side road.
Morogoro Region Commissioner Lowata Ole Sanari has directed the closure of businesses in the region found to high prices for sanitizers and nose and mouth masks used for prevention against the coronavirus. He gave the warning during a tour of Kilombero and Kilosa districts to inspect implementation of government directives against the virus.
Kutoka huko nipata nafasi ya kuzungumza na wafanyabiashara wote pale Ifakara.
I've spoken to all business operators at Ifakara selling sanitizers, soap and buckets at very high prices, and I've instructed some of the shops to be shut down. I insist that people should not use this opportunity to make profit. You find that some people are not complying to instructions given because of their social status.
Alokuja kuelimisha mkuu wa mkoa kuhusu habari ya corona nimelipokea vizuri.
I've received instructions given by the district commissioner. Well, however, there are some pharmaceutical outlets who treat others unfairly.
Hii sijui ni corona au nini. Hao mtu anakuja, anaumwa tu kichwa cha kawaida, lakini akishafika tu anaanza kusema, hii naona ndo corona hiyo.
Some nationals from Burundi have been stranded along the border of Tanzania and Burundi at Nanila village, Buhigwe district, Kigoma region, after the government of Burundi closed the border due to the coronavirus threat.
Tanzania haitakubali, wameshagonga kwamba tumerudi Burundi. Warundi wamekataa kutupokea, tutafanyaje sasa?
And that is the end of the national news. International news is next after the break. Police in Nyanza district south of Rwanda have shot dead 2 men after they violated a directive to stay indoors, being measures to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. The spokesperson from the Criminal Investigation Office has confirmed the incident and said that investigation is underway.
I found the police with some government officials around the dead bodies. Investigation to determine the cause of death is going on, and so far a team in charge of criminal investigation has taken charge.
President Museveni of Uganda has suspended use of public transport for 14 days and said that private cars will only be allowed to carry not more than 3 people. President Museveni also suspended the operation of non-food shops and markets with immediate effect until further notice.
There is no food at home. Children are back from school. There are those who have bank loans. How are they going to pay back? I work in a shop 3 doors down this corridor, but when I got here in the morning, the shop was closed.
Kenya has confirmed 3 new coronavirus cases, bringing the tally of reported cases to 31. The Deputy Minister of Health, Mercy Mwangangi, has said the new cases were reported in Nairobi and Kilifi counties. The government of Kenya has said that more than 2,000 travellers have been put in mandatory isolation upon arrival in the country during the past week.
In the last 24 hours, a total of 74 samples from suspected cases of coronavirus have been tested in various laboratories, namely the National Influenza Center, KEMRI Nairobi, KEMRI Wellcome Trust Kilifi. Out of the 74 samples, we have received confirmation of 3 people who have tested positive for coronavirus disease. This brings the total number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in Kenya to 31. These 31 confirmed cases are spread out in 5 counties, namely Nairobi, Kajiado, Mombasa, Kilifi, and Kwale. All the 3 new confirmed cases are Kenyans, females aged between 30 years and 61 years.
Members of Parliament from Burundi in the East African Legislative Assembly have started a 2-week campaign on preventative measures against the spread of the coronavirus in the country. The campaign will also be implemented in all member countries of the East African Community.
Members of Parliament will evaluate the implementation of various phases in protecting our people from the COVID-19 virus, but it will allow them an opportunity to encourage the general public to honor instructions given to wash hands.
Le gouvernement de la République du Burundi.
The government is asking everyone to continue to take precaution and to practice protective measures. The government would like to warn against anyone who would act inappropriately.
And that is the end of international news. Business is next after the break.
Business Edition, as we talk to business leaders and experts in sectors that are transforming Tanzania's economy.
We believe that the driver is the customer.
To change the mindset of traditional HR to the digitalization.
Make sure that everybody can get some access to financial services.
And once we understand the vision of our leaders, we then need to be behind them and help them in achieving that vision.
Business have involved mercantile operations, trade guilds, or shared agricultural production, infrastructure, construction, financial sectors, tourism, and mining. Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m.
In business news, gold prices in the country have dropped from 120,000 shillings a gram to 108,000 shillings after countries that are big buyers of gold closed their borders due to the global coronavirus pandemic.
We've seen our mineral dealers affected by this. They are not able to go to the mines. We were selling at 120,000 per gram, but it has dropped to 108,000 to 110. The government could invest in gold just as it did in cash nets. We have a lot of gold, but we cannot export at the moment, and this is quite a challenge.
Small farmers in Kiteto district have expressed concern on some unscrupulous traders who buy premature produce at low prices after giving them loans during the food shortage period before harvest time.
We're struggling to buy food, and there are some with a bit of capital who loan a sack of maize for 15,000. Those who take part in such activities are very dishonest, and when they enter other people's farms, of course, they complain. We advise farmers to consider current demand, but also to work with development stakeholders so they too can benefit.
Agriculture experts from East African countries have said the problem of fake imports in African countries is hindering the development of the agriculture sector and causing farmers to incur big losses.
There is a need for farmers to check the soil quality before applying manure. The dangers of not understanding soil quality is they end up not getting yield desired.
And that is the end of Business News. Sports News is next after the break.
Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment of going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's being dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment of going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's being dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Opposition, Marquinhos, he did lose to Lend.
In sports news, Tanzanian goalkeeper Juma Kaseja has revealed his injury denied him a chance to be summoned for the African Nations Championship CHAN provisional team. Here's more on that story.
Kaseja has been out injured for the last 3 months, and coach Etienne Dairagije had overlooked him when he called up players for both CHAN and African Nations AFCON qualifying matches. Both events, however, were postponed due to the coronavirus fears. Kaseja was part of the team which helped Tanzania earn a CHAN slot after missing for 10 years, but later got injured, which made him miss both national team and club duties. The former Simba Sports Club custodian also revealed the progress of his recovery as he trains on his own.
Kenya midfielder Francis Kahata believes he has already realized his first objective with Simba Sports Club. Here's more.
The 28-year-old joined Wekundu wa Msimbazi in July 2019 and has been one of the key players for the Tanzania Mainland League defending champions. The creative midfielder insists there is no team to stop them from winning the title this season. Offa's aim was to help the team successfully defend the league title, Kahata said. The former Gor Mahia midfielder has also lauded the quality of the players in the squad.
The Africa Cup of Nations 2021 will not be postponed amidst the coronavirus outbreak. The Confederation African Football CAF has confirmed. Here's more on that.
Football activities worldwide have been on hold as a result of the global pandemic, which has taken nearly 20,000 lives to date. Recently, CAF announced the postponement of the 2020 African Nation Championships CHAN indefinitely after hosts Cameroon had requested the rescheduling of the biennial tournament. However, this is not the case for AFCON 2021, also to take place in the Central African country, after the continent's football governing body confirmed the dates will remain unchanged unless the situation changes.
The president of the Italian Football Federation has refused to write off the Serie A season because of the coronavirus outbreak, saying the league could extend into July and August if necessary. Here's more on that story.
Italy has seen more coronavirus fatalities than any other country, with latest figures showing that 7,503 people have died from the infection in barely a month. The northern region of Lombardy, by far the hardest hit, showed a steep decline in the number of deaths and new infections in the latest figure on Wednesday, raising hopes that the epidemic may be slowing at its original center. However, optimism was tempered by warnings from the south, where contagion and deaths are far less widespread, but are rising steadily. Serie A has been suspended since 9th of March, and players from several clubs have tested positive for the virus.
And Barcelona are considering a pay cut of up to 70% for all of their players for as long as the coronavirus lockdown lasts in Spain. Here's more on that.
The players are understood to be receptive to the reduction, but no agreement has been reached. The intention is for any measures to apply equally to the men's and women's football teams, the B team, the under-19s, and to those who play basketball, handball, futsal, and roller hockey. It would also apply to staff working with those teams. Barcelona are the only La Liga club to admit they are looking at ways to alleviate the economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, although the league announced it would support its members in any measures they deem necessary.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin for tonight. Thank you for watching and good night.
Live on our social media accounts, YouTube.